All right.
We are rolling.
Let me just press those cables on.
Keep shot, Joey.
Okay.
One second. Focus.
We're rolling for.
Stand by for action. Everything on a 2 shot. Stand by. And
Mr. Mason, I have been in this business, I do television interviewing for 20 years, and we have never had a chance to meet, so I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to have this opportunity to talk with you. This is a big kick for me.
It's my fault for not coming down to your backyard.
Right. Anyway, we're together now, and of course your current film, Evil Under the Sun. You play a theatrical producer.
Yes.
Now, do you think there is any one trait that all theatrical producers have in common?
You can't trust them. No, I don't. Seriously, I don't. I really don't. No, I think there's such a trait. Because sometimes they're gamblers, sometimes they're adventurers, sometimes they're crooks, sometimes they're serious, straightforward, maybe frustrated artists. But no, it encompasses a large variety of humanity.
Did you have any particular ones in mind? Like, is your character a composite of several producers?
No, it didn't. Actually, I had one in mind when I was thinking about the part, and that was Jack Warner. And I was going to play it all out American originally, but I was talked out of it by the director and the producer. Director thought that people would like me, would accept me more, would relish my being in the picture more if I appeared as the well-known James Mason that they knew and were accustomed to. And the producer, I think, had thought that it would be very cute if I played it sort of straightforward English, and was thus juxtaposed with a wife who was quite different, who was kind of straightforward New York, you might say. Straightforward? Well, I mean, a New York type, kind of rough New York type.
Greenwich Village type, maybe.
Okay, if you like. Yeah, okay. I suppose that's it.
Had you played it all out Jack Warner, what would he have been like? What would he have sounded like?
Well, I tell you, well, no, I'm not going to give you the accent because I might be criticized. But I would have played it a little more sneaky, just a little bit more sneaky, inevitably. As a matter of fact, that's why it was the Jack Warner image that gave me the mustache, of course, and the dyed hair. He would have been a little bit more sneaky, and there remains, I believe, in the picture probably of me sneaking up the back stairs there, the back outdoor stairs, and peering through the bushes in a rather sneaky way. And that was not just for the purpose for the good of a good red herring. It was because it kind of went with the look and manner of a Jack Warner, I thought.
Mr. Mason, of all your films, when people come up to you, fans, movie-going public, which of your films are they most apt to mention first?
Well, it depends where you are. If you're in the United States, it's probably the Desert Fox, I would think, as likely as not. Yes, it is. If it's in Europe, it's probably something like The Seventh Veil or Man in Grey or even Pandora and the Flying Dutchman. Old films rather than more recent films. More recent films, I think, reach a younger audience, perhaps. And also, older people who no longer go much to the cinema, to the theaters. They stay in front of their television sets shrewdly because it's too dangerous in the streets and too expensive to go out. And I can't think of any. There are people, they're film buffs, that's another breed altogether, of course, and they have altogether different films to talk about.
Which films do you most like to be remembered for?
Well, I suppose A Star Is Born and that old film I did in England before I came over here in the first place, Odd Man Out. Those stand out. Among recent films, the Sherlock Holmes film in which I played Dr. Watson, I was very fond of. It didn't do enormously well in this country because it was very badly distributed. But it was a nice memory for me.
Do you see lots of films, I mean the current films, do you keep up with them yourself?
Yes, I live in Switzerland, so I don't always have the opportunity of seeing everything that's being made.
This past year now, which are your favorite films?
I would put number one, I'd say Chariots of Fire, because it's a marvelous film, and because all of you know Chariots of Fire, all of you had the opportunity of seeing it anyway. But I did see, curiously enough, really the best film, even better than Chariots of Fire, perhaps, I saw, and you'll never guess where it was made. It was made in South Africa. And the only reason I saw it was because in my little Swiss town where we live, we had a little Swiss, not Swiss, but a little film festival. It was supposed to be a film festival of comedy. And so they raked up 10 comedy films. I was president of the jury, and I had to sit through all of them. And there were only 2 that were really first class, in my opinion. There was one Czechoslovakian film, which was excellent. And the other one, but the winner, the absolute winner, was the South African film.
And what was it about? What kind of?
It was an adventure, a sort of variegated adventure. There were 2 central characters, you might say. One of them was a bushman, a very special species and a very, very lovely race. And the other one was a white professor who was a behaviorist, I suppose you might call him. But it was a sort of jumble. It involved a number of different kinds of adventures. Very exciting, beautifully photographed, touching, and funny. I'll repeat the name because you never know. When people quit picketing, and when people somehow have found a way of getting rid of apartheid, perhaps, in South Africa, maybe we'll all have an opportunity of seeing that film without any trouble.
And what is it called?
It was called The Gods Must Be Crazy. The Gods Must Be Crazy, made by a marvelous director called Jamie Ace, spelled U-Y-S.
We must
Great
be on the
film.
lookout for it. Very quickly, which film do you think will win Best Picture this year in the Oscars?
I don't know. I don't make any predictions because I'm not in the prediction business. But I just repeat that the best picture, as far as I was concerned, was Chariots of Fire.
Okay. Mr. Mason, finally we got to talk, got to meet. I hope we do it again sometime.
Great pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're in record. Here we go.
Okay, now questions. All right.
Okay. Same angle?
Yes.
Same.
Uh-huh.
Just one moment. Okay. Would you close that door, please, Al? Okay, we're ready for question number 1.
Okay. Mr. Mason, is there any one trait producers have in common? Did you have any one person in mind as far as a pattern for your character? Had you played it like Jack Warner, what would the character have been like? Okay. Of all your films, which is the one the public is most apt to mention first? Which of your films do you most like to be remembered for? Do you keep up with films? Do you see a lot of films? What is the best film you've seen in, say, the past year? Okay.